So I figured I'd kind of record this addition here. I've got a dust collection system that runs down there to that floor register and some other crap. And I wanted to add one for the saw because there's a bunch of dust that goes down here to this separator here. There's a bunch of dust the saw generates. Anybody that has a chop saw knows how much dust they generate. And and this is like 3 cuts, and the plastic sticks to everything because it's charged. It's got a static charge, so it just sticks to the saw like crazy. So my goal is to do 2 things. One is to first hook up the dust collector back here on this Harbor Freight saw, and then eventually I'm going to mold a piece that actually goes under the blade. I'm going to thermal form it with some plaster of Paris, and there's some other stuff I want to do to the saw. But I figured I'd document adding in this piece here. If someone's running ducting and you haven't done it before, I don't buy the static charge, explode shit, catch on fire thing. I've never heard of it happening. This is a trailer, so great. If it somehow explodes and, I'm not sure. I don't buy it. So I've got all plastic tubing. It's not grounded. I suck shit up all the time, and I haven't had anything blow up yet. And for all you safety people, I could give a shit. If you want to be super safety monger, go do that on your own time. This is my shop, and I'll do whatever the hell I want in my shop. So, anyways, because you get YouTubers all the time. Oh, you didn't ground it right. No, fuck, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And it's like, if they're so damn smart, do it in their shop. Great. So anyways, I didn't mean to rant. I can't believe how much time people must have and to comment on YouTube videos and crap. So I'll go ahead and document this best I can. I'm not on the tripod right now because I kind of wanted to show a dynamic view. I think I'm going to come off somewhere right in here with the 45, and I'm going to go over right behind that outlet there. And then I'll drop down and get over here to the saw. And I'll show you the pieces I bought. So this was $5. That 90 right there was a couple dollars. And then this isn't a full length. I have a full length of tubing on the other side over there. And then this adapter was a couple bucks too. And I bought that at a big box store. Surprisingly enough, the big box stores don't carry, or at least mine doesn't carry the long 90s. They're more like a short 90. So I went to an actual plumbing store and got, I'd call it a medium 90 because they make real long 90s. But so I'm going to Y off over here, somewhere about here, and I'm going to head over to that plug. So I'll see if I can get the camcorder set up and kind of document how I'm doing it. Maybe this will help somebody else, but I found the thin PVC to be the cheapest stuff to adapt over to, and you kind of don't have to worry about it fitting real well. When you're trying to adapt down to something, you just use electrical tape till it fits. Duct tape till it fits. So like that fitting I'm showing there, I just duct taped it until it slid on tight. Duct taped the inside. In this case, it slid over. So, but I've got a bunch of different fittings, rubberized ones, and you pretty much can go down to the hardware store, and as long as you know the size you're trying to adapt to. See there, I go from a 4-inch run to a 3-inch run there down the wall. But if you know what size you're trying to get to, then it's pretty easy to get there without spending specialized money and all blast gates and all that shit. Now I'm going to make some wood blast gates later on, but right now I don't need them. So anyways, I will stop this and then start it back up when I get to work in here. All right, so what I did is I just found a washer and screwed the square up to the pipe, and this is just in sheetrock. It's not in a stud or anything. This is that particle board they use in trip mobile homes. So I got that fixed with trial and error where I want it, and I'm going to back up. And you can see I'm going to go just past the light over there, and in the corner of the frame, I'll turn it slightly, you can see the square. So I'm going to go ahead and chalk line it, and like I said, I just trial and errored it until I got close. But the fitting I've got is 45-degree fitting, and the angle on this speed square is 45. So I'm just going to chalk line the ceiling where this is going to go, and Just pull it up tight and chalk line it. The ceiling, you know, this is an old trailer that I converted into a shop, so the ceiling is a piece of crap, just like the trailer. But it works good for me. So you can kind of see my chalk line there. And again, my goal is to be right over there next to the outlet with the drop. So I got my chalk line in. I'm going to cut in my piece of tubing and we'll be right back. There's the fitting in, and what I did, this thing's all clipped together with, let's see if I can show you. Those little things right there are clips for zip ties that I got online, and I'm not sure what AF is, but I just clipped those so I could bend the tubes far enough forward to get that in. I cut it a little big. It's 5 inches inside from inside lip to inside lip, and I cut it at like 5 1/4. And then I just you can't see it, but I flexed the crap out of that fitting there, and then same thing with that fitting there. I just flexed them way over and got this fitting to go in. So we'll swivel this light back over here. Anyways, I'll get that zip tied in and get that taped up, and then we'll work on getting the run over to here. Okay, I've got my pipe cut, and there's the line I kind of want it on. So there's these zip tie fittings. You can see them there and there. And I'll go ahead and get the pipe on. So pipe's gonna go right there. Alright, so what I've got now is I bought this 8-foot hose of shop vac hose. It's 2.5 inches in diameter, as you can see right here. And I'm gonna cut a piece out of it, probably a 4-foot piece or less. I've got, so if I pan over here, I've got a 12-inch drop right there. I just cut that off at 12 inches and taped it up, and it just so happens that this hose fits inside of that fitting. So I'm going to determine what length I need, cut it off in the saw, and I'll mock it up and give you guys a shot of what it looks like. So here's the finished product. It's, well, not totally finished. I gotta get this tight. This is just slipped on here. I gotta actually figure out how to, some kind of fitting to make that tight. But it's routed basically the way I want it to be, and I can use this thing to vacuum up the countertop. Eventually, I don't want to vacuum up the countertop. I don't want it to make dust. So the goal here is to not only get us, so let me back up for just a second. So the problem is still is, let me move this over a little bit so you guys can see it just a touch better. The problem is still this area of the saw. When you're cutting down in here, in fact, what I'll do is unplug this and chop my fingers off. When you're cutting, the saw tends to shoot all the sawdust back in here in this area. It doesn't actually go up inside. You know, the part that's trying to pull the sawdust is up this direction, up. In fact, it's when you get through the cut, it's 90 degrees straight up. So my intent is to take some thermoformable plastic. Let me hook this up out of the road so you can see better. Is to take some thermoform plastic and bring it down in here where it's able to catch all the material. That I'll have to find out what point it stays behind the guard, some point in here, because I don't want it to hit the wood. But I really want this thing to be as close to the blade as possible and as large of a pocket as possible, and I want it to seal inside this area. So my intention is to take painter's tape and tape all this out the best I can and just shape an organic shape in there, pull the blade off, and then actually pack in there a semi-moist plaster Paris and cast that area. And then what I'll do is I'll gently heat some thermoformable plastic. I've got, there's tons of it. You can find it in just about, any of this stuff is thermoformable. Even these, they form all this stuff under vacuum and heat. Garbage cans, all that stuff. So I'll find some suitable plastic, probably something clear, and I'll try to form a cup in here where it'll pull most of the sawdust off the blade and do what it's supposed to do. It's unfortunate that Harbor Freight didn't just put all they had to do was put 2 holes in here that you could thread or that were pre-threaded. Just anything would have been better than the way it is right now. So it should be fixable. I'm hoping not to have to move this laser. Surprisingly enough, the laser actually works pretty well. I'm shocked every time it lines up with the cut. So the laser's in a good spot. It's in a bad spot if there's no scoop. So the intention is to do that. I'm also going to, like I said, bevel the table. And then one of the other things I'm going to do down the road, and not too terribly long, I hope, is I'm going to try to build a box that comes up to the back of this fence here. And I don't know if I'm going to put slots underneath the fence or how I'm going to draw air in around this area right here. But make sure that's in camera. Oh, barely. Let me get you guys tilted the right direction. So my intention is to build some sort of, I've seen guys that build whole hoods. I don't have a lot of draw right now with my dust collector. It's, it's a work in progress like everything else in the shop. And so what I'm going to do for right now, in order to get this thing to flow, is to try to pull dust underneath the floating part of this table right here, maybe through this crack. But I'm just going to try to bring a board up behind here against the saw, and I'll make some stops so I can push it up in there and it'll stay. Not going to screw through the table, so I'm not sure how I'll do that. Probably contact cement or something. So where I was going with that is I want to make something where all the ambient dust that doesn't come off the blade and go directly into the hose, all that extra dust, if there's negative pressure back here, will pull into the vacuum system and be able to be sucked out as well. So I'm not sure how I'm going to accomplish that, if it's just going to be another tube or if I'm going to bring over the 3-inch line and do it that way. I think I might actually just bring over some more flex tubing and see if I can get that to work. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. I've got a couple of other little modifications I want to do to the saw, so I'll do probably one big mod video that shows everything all put together. But anyways, so I like the routing of this hose. It sucks. I already tested it as far as sweeping stuff into it. It pulls everything just fine, pulls plenty of chips, pulls large particles. So really at this point it's just a matter of getting it routed correctly and actually getting a scoop put underneath the blade so that it will pull chips during cutting. So I hope that helps. For those of you who've never used those zip tie straps before, you can get them online. I doubt you're going to get them anywhere local. You might be able to get them in the low voltage section of one of the big box stores. I haven't looked, but I just went and got mine online. You can get like a bag of 100 or a bag of 1,000 for real cheap. And like I said before, the zip ties just make for really easy installation. And if you screw something up, you clip your zip ties out, pull your tape, and you can move your tubing around. So I hope this helps someone, and I'll talk to you guys later.